Hello, everyone. Before we get started on this week's episode, just a quick word that YouTube, in all its infinite wisdom, has decided that some of the Die Party games are now not suitable for advertising. It doesn't mean a whole lot for the content. I'm not going to censor the videos in any way, but if you'd like to lend your support so that Die Party can continue to grow, please check out the Patreon or subscribe on the Twitch channel. Enjoy the episode. Hello everyone, welcome back for another week of Die Party Abyss, a Hollow Earth Expedition role-playing experience right here on Twitch. And if you're wondering what that is, that's a Nazi punching simulator for everyone playing at home. We're back. We're down 2 players this week. Normally we don't go up if we're missing 2, but today's a special occasion. Jordan, aka Nullspeak, it is his last episode, so we're going to send off his character the only way we know how, by either grievously wounding his character, drowning his character, throwing his character into the sun. We got options. That's all we need to talk about. We got options. But yeah, that's what we're here to do today. But let's go around and introduce the people who are here. Come hell or high water. Up first we have Drummer Boy. What up, sir? How you doing? How's the last couple of weeks been for you?
Good. Country album's over. I can get back to other stuff, like my Patreon, which I've been neglecting for a month and a half because country stuff, and then my own album, which has been on the back burner for 2.5 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Big goals for this year is like make a good portfolio to shop around for audio jobs and games, and release my own damn album because it's been too long.
What's it called? What's the album called?
Right now it's called Chill Songs.
Chill Songs?
Yeah. Just because they're all like instrumental, electronic kind of chill stuff.
Give him buffs and let him fight Mecha Hitler. Come on, this isn't Wolfenstein. But it could be.
Turn him into Aberdonk Linkler. Oh, man.
So what else have you been up to? What have you been playing? You still doing that Witcher shit?
Oh yeah, still playing Witcher on the weekends. I don't know if I finished the main story yet of the first game. Like we did like the whole big battle at Kaer Morhen now.
And the first game?
Over.
God, I can't even remember what happened in the first. I know that there was like 5 areas or something like that. Like,
yeah, well, there's like the 2 DLCs, but they're integrated into the game. So I don't know if there's like an ending and then like you have to go back into the game and play the DLC, or if it's just
wait,
like...
are you talking about Witcher 3 or Witcher 1?
Witcher 3.
Oh, Witcher 3. No, yeah. There's an ending. It's a clear ending, and then it just like opens up. And the DLC is kind of like separated. There are their own separate stories. So
okay.
Yeah, you can... if you start the game with the DLC installed, you can just be like, fuck it, man, I want to play the DLC. And it gives you like a level 37 character or something like that for like one of them.
Okay, because I started from the beginning, and I have access to like the Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine quests, but they're too high level for me right now. So I'm wondering if just like if it doesn't end the game, it's just like, well, this is the end of the like you do the end cutscene, and then it'll like show you a pop and be like, you're finished the game, but you can still go around do your side quests and the DLC if you want.
As far as I remember, you know when you beat the game for
Okay.
Witcher. Like it's like it just sort of like.
So I haven't beaten the main game yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
good luck to you.
like I had the snowball fight with Ciri, and now we're off to kill some.
Oh
kill
yeah.
one.
You're not that far off though.
One of the wild hunt. So.
You're not that far off. Yeah.
And then after The Witcher's done, I finally think I know what I'm going to play next. I'm going to play System Shock 1, 2, BioShock 1, 2, Infinite, the DLCs, and then Prey.
Are you going to wait for System Shock, the remake for System Shock 1? Or are you going to...
No, I'm going to play the like old version if I can get it to work.
Yeah, good fucking luck.
Yeah. I know I have System Shock 2 on Steam. I don't know if the first one is on Steam and if it works. But I want to play the old one and then replay the new one so I get like both perspectives.
I've had an inkling to play the Splinter Cell games.
Splinter Cell?
Splinter Cell. I don't know why. I just had an inkling.
Cool.
Like for me, I don't know. That's pretty much the top stealth game. Maybe up with Metal Gear Solid somewhere along those lines. I don't know. But that's like
Chaos Theory is still great, worth your time.
Is that the one with where he can like just like you just middle mouse a dude and he pops him in the head? Like it's like, is that the most recent one, or is that the one where he's an old man? Or is that?
No, it's right before the old man. It's like the last sort of Splinter Cell classic, I guess.
Oh right, okay, yeah, right. Because there was like a new one, and then they like made him young again somehow. Like Sam Fisher got young again in the modern day. It was like he's fucking young now. Like I don't understand why they did that. Just make another dude. Make him like John Fisher. I don't fucking know.
Bass Fisher.
Yeah, Bass Fisher.
Just turned into a fishing game. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we were talking about fishing games.
Oh yeah.
And what do you think of this kaiju mech game in VR? But you fish up giant fish in the Atlantic Ocean while controlling a mech at the same time.
I am a big fan. let's pivot. I got to tell the guys. Let's just do that instead.
I hear Guillermo del Toro's into games now. You can probably just tap on his shoulder and be like, "Hey, want to license Pacific Rim for a fishing game?"
Oh man, yeah. Can you imagine that?
That'd be pretty sick.
Because we were playing. I've been playing Monster Hunter a lot lately, and the fishing in that is fucking like perfect. Like you throw a line in, and the fish is just like, "Give me that!" Like instantly. There's none of that like waiting for fish in real life is like part of the fun because you get to relax and stuff like that. But there's none of that really relaxing element in a video game. Like it's just you just do nothing, right? Like, yeah, I don't know.
It actually has a prompt that comes up on screen like, it's a good time to take out your phone.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Like
yeah.
They plan for the second screen experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You steal that idea from Nintendo, like the heart monitor that you put on your finger. So like, whoa, you're getting too excited for this. Settle down.
You're scaring the fish away. Yeah.
You can't continue the game until you settle the fuck down.
Oh man. Speaking about zombie games, Null. What's going on?
Hey.
Is it a zombie game? Is it a zombie game?
Fuck no. No, I mean I love zombies as much as the next guy, but no, it's weirder than that. Significantly weirder, and hopefully a lot of fun. So we're going to announce the new game from Question, which is my company, soon. And so the whole team is kind of exactly in a pressure cooker. Mm-hmm. But we're good. We're happy. It's nice to finally be able to talk about the thing instead of, as you have all suffered through, me constantly like, I just haven't been doing much that I can talk about. It's very tedious for all concerned. So I'm ready for that to be over.
Well, I mean, best of luck with the release and all that stuff. I mean, shit. I've never been on a team, but I've seen the stress that it causes people. Especially in the, I guess, I don't know if you'd count yourself in the independent scene, but you probably would. But like small teams definitely feel it a lot more than the big guys.
Yeah, we've got a publishing partner this time, but our budget is still very small. We're definitely going to be competing very much with the indies. We might be somewhere between indie and triple I, whatever that means.
Triple I, yeah.
God. But we feel very small. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, aside from that, do I dare ask what you've been up to the past couple of weeks?
Just prepping some D&D. My infrequent group that I used to play with back in Texas. I'm starting to kind of run a little bit of D&D for them to kind of bring them up to speed with 5e and. My plan is to get a bunch of players, a big pool of players, to about 9th level, and it's going to be long and slow, but that's fine. It's kind of at the pace that we can all play.
Yeah, I think the last D&D game we played, we got to, what was it, Doc? We got to what level? I think we got to 10. I think before we wrapped that bitch up. Were you in that game, Doc? I can't remember.
I wasn't in that game. No.
Who was it then? Was it Sheepy? I think it might have been Sheepy that was in that game. Actually, thinking about it now, it was a while back.
Sheep,
Yes.
Sheep and Graham actually were both.
Graham was the GM, so yeah, makes sense that he'd be in it. But yeah, no, 10th level. Like, I think. Are you starting them at 3rd level?
We are. Yeah, I'm done with that sort of first 3 crawl. All these are veteran role players, so I'm interested in getting them higher up. I'm actually even trying the accelerated schedule that Mike Merles tweeted about a little while back, about like basically every 4 hours of play they're going to level, and it'll come and go a little bit, but on an infrequent basis. You know, that you got to have some sense that things are moving forward, and so I'm gonna probably get them well above 9th on that kind of frequency.
4 hours every level is not a bad idea. Like, I guess that's like one major combat encounter and some role playing, I guess, within that 4 hours, and that constitutes a level. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, and every combat encounter in a game I run is balanced for deadly every single time. So it's kind of like, I'm gonna actually test you, actually make you, have to work to stay alive, and then you're gonna get a level.
All right, half orc fighter, come at me.
And then they have like all those new subclasses in Xanathar. So like every couple sessions, you get like a new, like not a new thing, but like you can choose your subclass, and then you can like either further that one or like split out into 2, or like
what was it? Half orc fighter with the 3rd level trait of having magic, and the feat for at level 4 for picking another type of magic and taking paladin magic to get a healing spell. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there you go. That's the literal perfect character you can get. You get second wind. You get the half-orc bloodline trait, which is you come up at 1, and when you go down, you can heal yourself. You can heal yourself again. You get, like, AoE magic. It's good, man. Like, nothing can beat it. Nothing can beat that. That's the tippy top of all the characters in there.
Just name a minimum Maximus. There you go.
Minimum Maximus.
Exactly. If you play like Sheepdog, you need that half-orc stand up from death feature.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Well, last but not least, Doc Gast from the Homeland. What up, sir? How you doing?
Yo, my internet's being like absolutely fucking shit right now.
Garbo, yeah.
I don't even know if you can actually hear me.
No, we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone down the end of the road is like
might
watching Netflix.
I might. That's not even funny. They did that when Netflix first came to Australia. They gave them priority bandwidth.
Yep.
So people would have shitty internet connections. People around them are watching Netflix.
Yep. Instead of
Net
broadband to the
neutrality,
home,
folks.
instead of broadband to the home, it's broadband to the street. And then everyone takes off that line. That's why it's so fucking garbage, because yeah.
Yep.
The infrastructure just absolutely sucks in Australia. I feel you 100%. That's exact. Someone's downloading Monster Hunter. That's that's what's happening.
I may need to jump out for a second and reset my router because my shit's all freezing up.
Okay. Sure. Well, I mean, now's a good time to do it before we get into it. But you guys want to talk about the XP expenditures, what everyone's doing and stuff like that, I guess. So, Doc, if you want to do it now, man. Yeah, he's gone. Cool. You can't see Andrew, drummer boy, but he's still there, just half and half.
I'm here. Which half?
There you go. Yeah, that's good. Yep. Just stay like that the entire time. People can see. Yeah. What's our expenditures? What are we doing? What do people want?
I'm grabbing bold attack to make Dr. Gideon able to actually make use of the lulls that he creates in between guys waking up.
And
that
what was
basically bold attack just means that instead of base dexterity, it's now base charisma for my firearms.
Really, it's charisma for firearms?
Yeah, it's the same thing that Graham took, but he took the intelligence version.
Mm.
That's crazy. Oh man, I forgot how stupid this game gets when you give people experience points. It's like, what if I put everything else as a 1 and I have 19 charisma, and then I just put all my stats facing charisma, and then I'm perfect, right? That's how that works? Yeah. How much does that cost?
Yeah. 15 points.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah. It's been building up to that. That's not a problem.
Yeah,
every time the cameras on my character has like Vaseline lens.
Yeah.
The soap opera thing, because you're just so pretty and charismatic.
I think of it as he's just so his convictions are so clear. Like, he doesn't lie. He's trying to make the world a better place, and sometimes it's like hard to argue with, you know, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, with his with bold attack, I'm thinking it's just like he is not afraid to die, like not at all, and will jump right into the middle, as we have seen in a couple episodes.
All right, drummer, what do you got for me, man?
I'm saving up.
Oh yeah, what are you saving up to get? We got to kill some time here, so help me out here.
I don't know yet.
How much you got?
Right now I've got 11. I might be going for like a new talent, because mobile attack doesn't really seem to do anything.
Yeah, because I'm not really paying much attention on like the minutia of combat. If you guys want to move and shoot, it's not a huge deal to me. Like,
yeah,
like that's kind of the thing I try and stay away from the most. Is just like, if this was a game with miniatures, it would make a lot more sense. But it's not. It's theater of the mind, you know. Like, and whenever like a game comes up where it's like, hey, I can move an extra 5 feet a turn. Sweet. It's like, that never, ever has ever come up. Unless the GM is like, I've been counting my mind. You can't move that far. It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. That's the GM just being like a sort of withholding dick. Yeah. I love this game when we embrace the pulpiness and just sort of say like, yeah, you can do that if you're willing to spend style points, or if you're willing to get yourself into trouble. Like, imagine that scene with Sheepdog, with Charles putting his sword up to the Nazi leader. If you had actually like simmed it out, it was so much cooler the way it worked, because you were just like, okay, you know, if you spend style points, you can get in the middle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, rule of cool is how I GM. I like it too much to do anything.
The only other thing I was looking at is maybe like getting, what is it, like a special item or something?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's fucking great. Like, you just basically like what is it? Page is that on this page? 118. Okay. Yeah, there's like a what was it? Spinning experience.
There's a whole bunch of really cool shit in there that I'm like, I could probably pick up something cool at Atlantis, either
like a resource. What was it? An artifact. Yeah. Like what? So, how much is it to get an artifact? It's like 15.
It's 15 points. It's equivalent to a trait.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I was looking at an artifact for a while that was like, would let you have telepathy basically, but it would have been 30 friggin' points, you know? And
like artifact level 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sort of stuff is like super useful to have at the start of the game. But if you want to save up for an artifact, dude, I'll make it fucking worth your while 100%. And we have Doc back. What up?
Hello. Did you say something about buying an artifact?
Yeah.
Because I could do that right now if I wanted to.
Oh, shit. What page is that on, by the way?
That page is 76 in the PDF and 73 in the book. So yeah, like level 1 artifact is 15, level 2 is 30. It's like 2 times the level. Oh no, the level times 15 basically is. So if you want to get like a level 4 artifact, I mean that's like what, 1,000,000 points, 60 points, something like that. So yeah, what level are you looking to get at, Doc?
I wasn't actually. I was just saying that I could.
How much XP do you have?
17.
Yeah, you're getting there. Level 1 is like
It's 15 for a first level artifact, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 15 for first level. Like a luck, like something like you know, an artifact that can be used as a MacGuffin, I would say, more than anything. Like, I wanna distract the guy by shining my watch in this guy's eye out of the sunlight. You know, like things like that, like that sort of shit. Basically just like a
Yeah, it's a simple artifact, maybe a lucky watch that provides a +2 skill roll bonus once per session. Like that, the really low level stuff seems pretty. It's like, okay, it might be nice, but then when you get like level 2 is a jetpack.
yeah.
Like, oh, okay,
I can
That-
just
that
fly
escalated
over there.
quickly.
Yeah. Runs on the power of dinosaur bones. Yeah. To kill dinosaurs to power it. Yeah. But what about? Do you have anything you want to spend anything on, Doc? While we're here.
Yeah, I wanted to get a talent called finesse attack.
Oh shit. Much like the charisma one.
But for melee, right?
Yeah.
Yes, this allows me to use my dex rating for a specific combat skill. I'm going to choose brawl. So my unarmed combat will use my dex, which is
That's
5.
like some kung fu shit, man. Like what type of
Well,
kung fu does Jonathan Hyde have?
It's a bit early.
Is it like
This
the
particular
same?
martial art doesn't exist, but Krav Maga.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like,
No,
is it
no.
the same thing that John Wick uses with his guns?
Basically, yeah.
With
it's
the
just-
blunderbuss.
Short, quick motions that are designed
CQC.
to either kill or incapacitate as quickly as possible.
CQC. I like it.
Yeah.
You're a fucking Solid Snake.
Basically,
I like it.
he's just remembering the basics of CQC.
Quick slash retract. Whatever the fuck it is. Okay, cool. All right. Well, with that in mind, so we're gonna do a lot of there's a lot of things that happened between last time and this time. Basically, you guys freed your companions from a hellish Nazi torture future, and you learned of the existence of Atlantis, far in the distance, in the middle of a proverbial ocean. Getting there, you guys follow the now named Cathra Amazon leader, who took you to a what can only be seemed to be a sort of salvaged boat, similar to the one that you guys explored earlier, but not as large, essentially. It looks like it gets used for this journey. So it is moored in a space. You guys all jump on, and you start making your way across the body of water. It takes a couple of days, and during that time, we get a dream sequence from good old Gideon. So Gideon, it's that dream sequence sort of filter over the top. On your script, it's the black paper with the white text, just so you know that it's actually a dream sequence, so you know how to separate it out. So you don't do a Moses like and go crazy or whatever. So it's 1909, 27 years in the past. We see a 6-year-old Gideon staring out the portcullis of a cruise ship deep in the Atlantic Ocean somewhere. You're on a cruise with your beloved grandparents at this time. You're just in the room with them right now in like a private confidential quarters. Your grandparents, from what you can remember, well respected on the ship. They seem to have a lot of money and they seem to flaunt it pretty well. It's pretty late at night. You're having trouble sleeping, as you normally do. Being on a boat is a little troubling for you at best of times, as it is for most kids. The waves kind of put you on edge for the most part. Your grandfather, kind of old for his age, leathery skin, well worn under the sun. and very bright white hair. Like the pigment color has lost the battle here. He's aged pretty well, all things considered, aside from those parts. He comes over to you and puts his big meaty paw on your shoulder, and in grandpa fashion, he stares out the window with you and says, "Imago, it's time you learn some things about us. It's going to come up every once in a while, and, well, I'm sure you've already run into problems with your family heirloom we gave you." And he blinks into the camera, basically showing his own tattoos on his eyelids. So I'll be happy to answer your questions if you have them.
So I cannot do a child voice over time, but I'll do
this is your memory. You can be the same age you are right now, right? This is your dream. Like,
have you ever seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Yeah.
Basically that. It's exactly you, just smaller in your PJs.
Okay.
And Jim Carrey, like,
he's there too. Get that man out of here. So I say, "Oh, you mean these?" And I point to my eyelids and I say, "I thought you meant the dreams."
For this particular purpose, that hasn't started for you yet.
Oh, okay.
That's what we'll get to that though, for sure.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Well, that's okay. He might still just be a kid who had a lot of nightmares. I was.
Okay. Well, there's nothing to worry about. The ocean can't hurt you.
I say, I look out and it's kind of doing this.
Yeah.
And I just say bitterly, "I wish it would just stop."
Focus on something in the distance. Your stomach will settle down after a while.
I attempt to do what he asks, but I keep stealing sidelong glances at him.
Mm-hmm. You know, your mother never really wanted us to bring you into this, but, well, you are more my son than your father was.
I break off, look at him again, and just say, "How do you mean? They don't have these. Why do I?"
Let's just say your father never lived up to my expectations.
I nod because I'm kind of in agreement on that one.
Yeah. But you have the stuff. You have that extra thing that the Gideons need. There'll come a time when I won't be here. And we all know that your father can't be relied on. So you'll need to be your own man.
I'm ready. And I'm super not. like I say that, but my face looks fucking scared.
Okay. He looks around, paranoid a little bit. And he brings you close and he hugs you. And as he's hugging you, he says, "Our family is being hunted."
Why? What did we do?
My father, your great-great-grandfather, he took something that, well, was better left with those that we took it from. He slides you over a a pocket watch, like one of those, with the closing lid. Looks pretty ordinary, to be honest with you. And he gives it to you and closes your hand around and says, "Don't lose this. It is important."
I, small hand around the thing. And I'm in PJs, as we mentioned. So I just sort of look around the cabin and like resolve to hold it under my pillow in my fist.
We won't be going back to America. We make for greener pastures. Our family has been outed, as it were. And honestly, I'm still not... I still don't believe that we've made it safely. But it's definitely something that you should know about.
Why are you talking like this? Are you leaving?
And with that, the door to your private room gets kicked open, and a man in a leather jacket and a fedora that mysteriously covers his face will stride into the room, and he will loudly say, "Gideon, your time has come. I found you finally." And the old man, your grandfather, will stand up, and he'll pull out a sort of like a what would only be called like a snake dagger sort of thing in his hand. It's kind of like the curvy blade. I don't know what you call it, like a sacrificial dagger almost.
Cree, I think, or something like that.
A Cree, yeah. And he'll say, "Over my dead body, I might be old, but I can still fuck your shit up." And they have a struggle. The actual parts of it are sort of lost to you for the most part, but basically what results in your grandfather being stabbed repeatedly in the chest. Whether you remember that fact or not is completely up to you in terms of like how much you put away. The man...
I think maybe I was... what I would love to say, if you'll allow this, is that 6 or 7 year old Gideon is not a hero. And he plunged under the bed, skidded to a stop, clutching that pocket watch. And he tried to look away from the violence, but there's a mirror in the room. We saw this whole thing reflected, against it, and couldn't then look away from that point forward. So he does remember, but it's
maybe it's more like the sound effects and like the actual like a struggle from like the knee up sort of thing of the two combatants. Your grandfather will fall down to the ground, and maybe that's where you see like his face sort of like lulls underneath the bed, sort of thing, or at least from your vision you can see his dying face, and his eyes stay open when he dies. The man like bends down and wipes off the dagger. Like he takes the dagger out of his hands and wipes off his fingerprints basically on the dagger. And then he reaches under the bed and drags you out by your ankles. And I don't know how much you struggle, or how much you protest.
At that point, I think something would snap, and I would fight like hell itself. Like he would have to knock me out.
Oh, he doesn't knock you out, but a man overpowering a child is hardly unusual, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, he could probably hold me at arm's length.
Yeah.
Just like...
So he like basically like maybe like backhands you a bunch until you go a little out of it, I guess. And basically, from your vision, your blurry, pain-struck vision, he will open his trench coat and pull out like a transparent, little sharp gemstone, basically, like a really long, sharp gemstone, and he'll draw it closer to your chest where your heart is, and he will slowly push it into your skin, and as he's doing that, he'll say, "Your future does not belong to you, child," and then push it into your heart. And that's when you snap awake, in the boat, again rocking, as the waves do. It's not like as bad as it was that night, but it's still the motion of the ocean, as it were.
Do I remember the last instant, or is that for the benefit of the audience, and the sort of object inside my chest is like gone, the blurry part?
No, you remember that. Specifically, after that point, that's when you started being able to interpret things and see things clearly.
Oh, shit.
So you could say that maybe it failed, or maybe it had its intended effect. You have no idea.
I see. And it's been too useful to, it's been the source of my entire career and everything since. So I haven't pursued getting it removed or anything like that.
Well, even if you did, it's not there anymore.
Okay.
It's maybe a part of your bloodstream, like hard to say. But it certainly didn't destroy your heart or anything like that.
All right. I guess I just sort of look at the faces of my companions, as if worried that they saw the events of my dream, just for a second, like.
Sure. Yeah.
And then visibly nervous, turn back towards the horizon where we saw that kind of roof spire sticking through the water.
Oh, you're definitely a lot closer than when you started. Like maybe you fell asleep afterwards, maybe the fatigue from battle. After you got situated, you fell asleep, and maybe you've been sleeping the entire time. But you definitely have almost completed your journey. Atlantis, as it was, is definitely a shining beacon of light, and I guess for the most part, like it's being reflected very heavily off the water, and it's kind of like, how you get like snow that's too bright sometimes when the sun comes out. It's a little like that. It's not so much that these are ordinary buildings, but maybe the years of being, pushed against the water, or maybe they've coated it in something. It's definitely more shimmery than what these supposed building materials would be. And you guys have sort of come up to what is essentially a giant gate, or like gateway, and it's actually a gate, like a physical barrier between you and where you need to go. And aside it is two statues of, I guess, men in armor, very sort of fantasy based, as you would imagine that to be. So think Lord of the Rings, like that pass between the two in the river. I forget what that.
Two statue pass. Yeah, I think that's what it was called.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you get the idea. Very fantasy looking thing, and your boat is dwarfed against these statues. Kathra, the Amazon leader, will gather you all and say, "This is Atlanta. We have arrived. However, each of you must be willing to put aside your weaponry if you wish to come in."
Okay.
I think we just all look at Hyde. He's just like armed.
Atlanta is a bastion, as it were. You would not do well to bring what you have inside. You can leave it here on the ship, but everything must remain peaceful inside.
Stand up immediately, just unshoulder the tranq rifle, unshoulder the SMG, like leave. And I do, however, hold the sword cane, not because I'm trying to conceal anything. I've fully forgotten that it is what it is. I've never used it.
Mm-hmm.
So it might get me in trouble.
You have a sword cane as well?
Yeah, it's coated with a sort of sleeping venom. It's not like a single edge like cutting weapon like Charles has got. It's just a piercing weapon to get a venom into somebody. But I've never used it because I'm shit with melee.
Well, not anymore, apparently.
Well, no, that's him. I just brought my rifles up to par.
Okay. So, she will wave to a non-existent person somewhere, and the gates will slowly open, and water will seep into the space between the barrier and the actual city itself. As you guys go deeper in, we get characters. Some of the tribesmen actually rowing the boat at this point, simply because sails have fell down and that sort of stuff. As you guys are coming into the mooring area of Atlanta, you start to see people walking about, going about their business. Not so much fishermen or anything like that, but it basically looks like a very early London town. You've got people wearing drab olive green clothes and people with waste baskets on their heads taking laundry from one place to another. A lot of what you wouldn't expect this place to be. Kind of surprising, considering that the tribesmen on the actual island or the mainland are so different in comparison to the people in Atlanta. But whether that's because they don't allow these sorts in, or whether they choose not to take the advantages that Atlanta has with them, that's completely unknown to everyone here. But you guys arrive and you moor up. The tribesmen and Cathra actually don't get off the boat though. Once you arrive.
Have we? I've got the same question as Chad actually. Have we seen Mercer's journal refer to Atlantis as Atlanta? Like, is that the way?
Sorry,
that's
just me saying the wrong thing. Don't worry about it.
Okay, just making sure.
Atlantis.
It might have been.
We're back in America.
Nice. Yeah, it's Atlantis. Yeah, sorry. That's on me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well.
That's the Australian way trying to shorthand everything.
Yeah. Gideon is sort of like there's a bit of a crack. Like he looks around and he's starting to scowl a little bit because this feels reflective of the corruption. Yeah, exactly. That he thought he was leaving. So he's not speaking, but it's plain as day that this is not what he expected.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's the first step here, guys? I guess Solomon and Charles and the rest of the NPCs choose to stay behind and vote for you guys to go, obviously, and investigate this place.
Yeah, maybe with Charles, they're like, I'm sorry, that flag is technically a weapon. And he's like, he's like hanging on to it for grim death.
Yeah. It's got a pointy end. You can't bring it with you.
So after a long moment, I sort of look at these two and I say, I must warn them of the Nazi intent for this place. I killed the men to whom we exposed it, but it's only a matter of time. We killed them, I amend. I look back at the Amazon, and did she remain in the boat, or is she like at the gates? Like where, or did she come with us? Like what is her?
So she is staying in the boat, and the boat is sort of like moored. It's kind of almost like there is like almost like a river going through the middle of this, which is ocean. Like Atlantis sort of split between like a large river in the middle. And it's kind of almost like a city built on what do they call them? The boats that go around, like with the sticks. What do they call that shit?
Gondola.
Yeah, it's like a gondola. That's the word. Yes, it's like a city built around gondolas. You know, like there's a lot of like passageways and rivers and stuff and canals. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like Venice.
Yeah, like exactly like Venice. Yes. So getting around is normally done on smaller boats, and there's actually, if you care to look into it a little bit, the gates act as sort of like a barrier against like the natural waves and stuff like that. So the moment you guys come in and the gates close behind you, the swell of the ocean stops, and the actual, like, there's a very sort of technologically advanced series of like gateways and barriers that allow the actual water in this place to stay at a certain level, like dams and stuff. So it's actually far more advanced than you would imagine it to be. But other than that, it's everyone seems to be normally dressed and going about their business in the right order. So yes, to answer your question, she is staying on the boat and she's not getting off onto the actual soil of Atlantis.
Well, not being a liar, I start looking around for the equivalent of a bobby, like a guardsman, whatever they've got for a police force, because
is there like a big blue police box somewhere?
No, there is no armed guardsman that you can see.
Is this drawing any attention, or is this like old hat for these people?
Well, I don't think you guys are drawing any attention to yourselves, are you?
No, but like we have an Amazonian boat and tribesmen driving into like the park. It's like,
I mean, it's not exactly like your boat isn't like a Viking longboat or something like that.
So they get visitors often enough that most people aren't looking twice.
You probably assume just from this interaction that there is some sort of trade that happens here to a degree. But from what you can tell about the natives that are with you, they seem to have some sort of like I guess respect for this place or fear of this place. It's hard to tell. Without further questioning them, I suppose.
In character, looking back in her direction, I say to these two, the Amazon indicated that there had been contact, that there had been diplomacy, if failed. And so I just sort of stop somebody passing by and I say, do you understand me? Do you speak this tongue?
So, they will look at you, and maybe this is when, like, getting closer to the actual, like, population of this place, you start to notice odd things. Like, they're very tall, for one. They're very slender. And and they're also very young looking. And I don't know how much you pay. Like, do you like purposely pick someone, or do you grab the first person?
I mean, in the absence of clear authority, then it would be just someone, a passerby. My hope was to find somebody who seemed like they had contact with a governmental structure. But yeah, if nothing is in the offing, he needs a lead.
So yeah, he will.
Maybe like street vendors or something like that around.
No, there's no salespeople here either. Like, there's no shops or nothing. It mostly seems like a built-up British town that people seem to just like go about their business in. Like, it's not like there's no like shop fronts or like from what you can see, at least from where you are.
I put a hand on each of their shoulders, like if the person doesn't stop or whatever, I just put a hand on each of their shoulders and say, "Gentlemen, with his memory, it's very possible. Could it be that Charles has already been here?" Like,
looking around for a British flag somewhere.
Oh, there it is. No, that's not. Yeah.
Or that Sterling guy.
So yeah,
I'll turn to Gideon and be like, rather anticlimactic, don't you think? It's like
I was expecting more
trying to make a joke. It's like I was expecting like
crystals and glass,
crystal
and
towers and like shiny shit.
Gideon cracks. He doesn't say anything for a second. He says, "They probably have crystals." Like, it's just like
I mean, I'm sure they do. Like, yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, then he'll begin plunging around looking for any sort of any zoning, anything that indicates that we're getting closer to a high security area, right? So if this is a thoroughfare, at some point there's got to be a terminus. At some point there's got to be an elevation. He'll start following the hierarchy of space.
So yeah, I mean, the person you like, if you grab that person and talk to them, they will talk to you like how you'd imagine in English, and they'll answer your questions and stuff like that. But they're like happy and joyful, and it's like, yes, friend.
Wait, are we talking like I'm having a good day, or are we talking like I'm on something and don't know what being sad is?
No.
Is this
are
like
you
a
able to tell
regular-
the difference?
Are their pupils like super dilated? And do they look like they're impaired in any way?
No, they seem to be normal looking people. They
Do any of
also
them-
yeah, go
Do
on.
they have eye tattoos?
No, they don't.
Like we've probably seen people blink.
Nope, no eye tattoos, nothing like that. And he's a generic looking man. He's a little taller, a little slender than you'd imagine, but he will talk to you in English.
I say, "Have you a leader or something? We bear a message from the outside. It's very important. Your safety could depend on it."
Friend, you're in the safest place you could possibly be.
"Not for long," I say. "When you have a problem, who do you speak to?" Like he's like frustrated, but trying to boil it down.
Well, we've never really had problems here, so I can't really say for sure. This place kind of
If I
runs
was to
itself.
snap your neck, who would come and stop me?
Why would you want to do such a thing?
Well, I don't want. I'm gonna fucking snap his neck. Look, we want to find out who's in charge.
Well, this place is, for the most part, always been like this.
My ancestors
Should I just snap his neck?
were idiots.
We'll find out very quickly.
I was like, this isn't getting us anywhere. Let's head towards the tallest building.
Sure. I
A
mean,
place that looks important because clearly
there's
they don't have any idea.
a standing tower clock, kind of like Big Ben almost.
Yeah, I'll just like point at it and like gesture to Gideon like, oh, there?
Yeah, I will just begin kind of elbowing my way through the crowd, not trying to start trouble, but definitely being ruder than they probably expect. Because from my point of view, the Nazis could be out fucking side.
You're probably like elbowing them and they're apologizing to you. I fucking hate this place already.
It's Canada.
Yeah, so you guys walk through the streets. You walk amongst the people. The people all seem to be like, if there was a city on Earth that had like a very similar looking population, this would be it, right? Everyone is slight deviations on the brown hair, brown eye, Caucasian skin sort of look. You know what I mean? Like they have different haircuts, they have different facial features, but not to the extreme level. There's no like deviation on like what is considered the average look of the Atlantean. Having said that, the buildings that you are walking around, they seem to be very similar as well. Not a lot of them have changed in any shape. You know, they all look like basic houses. 2-story, 1-story. Oh, there's a 3-story, but there's another 2-story. Everyone has like it's paved roads, so like stone and stuff like that, and the doors just lead up to it. There's no numbers or indicators or markers on these houses either. There's no street signs, names, anything along those lines, and everything
McDonald's
seems
directly across from them. Another McDonald's.
yeah. It's like it's fucking Starbucks there on every 3 buildings. There's a Starbucks. No, but yeah, everyone seems to be like coming and going out of the buildings like with no problems.
Like this gives me the creeps. I don't know about you.
Well, yes. I mean, as we are moving towards the sort of tower, you know, if like I'd be grabbing some other person, just saying, "The family Gideon. Have you heard of the name? Anything?"
It's like, I think there was a Gideon here a couple of millennia ago.
And gone now, and never to return.
It's like, I actually don't remember. Honey, do you remember the Gideons? I was like, no. I mean, aside from the fact that there was. That was a great woman voice, Dave. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think at that point I would give up on talking to
Goodbye, friend.
Yeah, Stepford Village, and just like begin plunging ahead to the most important looking building that we can spot.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there are any Abernathys here. That would explain a lot.
Abernathy's, Flanderses. I don't know.
Lord Cucumber. Yeah. Yeah, so you guys make your way over to the bell tower. You get there. You know, it's kind of like a square with like the bell tower in the center. But there's no discernible way to get inside of it.
Mr. Hyde, you want to unlawfully climb a structure again?
I do believe there are no police, and begin climbing. I'm sure. Well, we can. It's a bell tower. There's got to be like a hole at the top. I can just climb into that, right?
Sure. Let's get a athletics roll from you. This would be difficulty 7.
So I believe that would be a flat dex roll.
I would. Yeah, I would take dex. Do you not have athletics as a skill?
No.
Interesting. Let me take a look. Let's see. Acrobatics. Do you have that?
No, I don't really have anything applicable. I have ride.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is athletics is strength. Then we'll go with that.
Ooh.
Straight strength roll,
good.
please.
All right.
Because strength is climbing. Yep, there it is, right there. So
What
difficulty
did you say
7.
difficulty was?
Mhm.
7.
Mhm. It's like, you know, you think there's finger holes, but they're like kind of like that sort of finger holes, you know? Oh, you're good, man. You're good. Struggle a bit, but wow, Jesus, really? 6, 10, 1, 10, 6, 1. Interesting rolls.
It's just a good thing the ones don't count against successes in this.
Yeah, no. It's good. It's not World of Darkness.
Yeah.
But yeah, you climb up. It's a little like your fingernails hurt a little bit at the end, you know, like the handholds aren't really there. It's not like it designed for climbing. It's actually kind of weirdly built how the bricks sort of always are perfectly like jutted in such a way that you can climb, but none of the like anyone without any sort of motive to climb it would probably be like, huh, that's impossible to climb. But you know, you managed to do it.
But I happen to be a PC in a role-playing game, so
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, you get to the top, and for the most part, there is a bell up the top. But there is no mechanism to ring it, and the floor is basically just like a little plateau at the top.
Okay, so can I see anything that looks like not a residential district? Is there like something that's obviously maybe military or
Give me a perception.
government?
Give me a perception here. We'll say the difficulty here would be a 6. Okay, yeah. I mean, you peer out, and so imagine Atlantis is like like a city maybe about the size of San Francisco, with a river going straight down the middle, separating two sides. Right. From what you can see, the bell tower is in the center of the side that you're on. Surrounded by like basically living houses and stuff like that. No real residential stuff. But if you peer over to the other side of the island, like across the river in the middle, it's identical with a bell tower in the middle surrounded by residential stuff.
So there's, other than the bell tower, no real buildings or anything that stand out.
Not really.
Okay, well, I guess we burn this one down then.
I mean, it is made out of brick and stuff like that and stone. So
I think you're just
they
not
asked-
trying hard enough.
They asked for our guns. Did they take our grenades?
well, they didn't ask for anything. You were just like the Amazonian stated it'd be a good idea to leave it here.
Okay.
You can go back and bring some stuff back. I mean, it's not impossible if you wanted to try that. I assumed you didn't bring anything with you, because if you did, there'd be a different thing going on right now. So
I call up, what is it? Do you see anything?
Nothing. It's the same fucking thing all the way to the edge.
To hell with this. I stretch out psychically, looking for the biggest kind of impulse I can find in this fucking place.
So that's kind of the trick, right? You reach out psychically, but it's kind of like you're being squashed, I guess would be the feeling. It's kind of like you try, like imagine your hands are tied, but like it's in your mind's eye's hands, you know? Like you're trying to reach out, but you can't seem to move your limbs psychically, if that makes any sense.
I turn to Francis, like trembling with frustration that these people act like livestock. And I say,
An angry person, finally.
do we need to attack them to wake them up? Do we need to demonstrate that all is not fucking well?
So you start talking about attacking them, And that's when you start to notice that people are stopping in their activities and sort of turning to face you.
Oh, good. Do I see this from up there? Like I'm watching these two talk, and I just see like people are just like stopping and turning all in unison, Children of the Corn style.
I mean, it's not Children of the Corn. It's not like they all do it at the same time, but you know, one or two people will stop and just sort of look over at you, and then like more and more people start to do it, basically.
If I noticed this, I'd be like, I'll go follow my lead and just like push you and yell obscenities.
I think what was happening as they were finally turning, a somewhat intelligent reaction, I was about to start saying, "Listen, you are all in grave."
Yeah, push over. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I mean, more and more people start to watch this kerfuffle, basically.
I really wish I had kept my guns. I'm gonna have to climb back down now.
I mean, with a success, you can climb back down.
Well, let's put it this. Let's be real. I'm getting down one way or another. Okay.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I'm not going to make you.
Sure
I'm not going to make you roll again.
Go back up.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not going to make you roll again, right? Like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You had enough successes to like be okay climbing down. You know, it's more a confidence thing, a Maybelline thing. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I had my guns, I'd just sit up there and wait.
Sniper from the bell tower. Yeah. So I mean,
Gideon does not lie unless he's in disguise. So as Francis is beating the shit out of him, he's saying stuff like, "None of this is necessary. We are just here to warn." You know,
we're
like
both awful at melee though, so it's more of a slap fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the world's worst actual fight.
Yeah,
like Paul Rudd fighting a dude sort of fight. You know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he's Ant-Man, so I can't say that too much.
No. What's the guy's name?
Will Ferrell fighting someone. Just imagine that.
No, it's like Michael Cera fighting Jonah Hill. Like two of the most harmless people.
That's better. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. I'll take that. Yo, Jonah Hill got fucking thin, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. You should.
I did. It's weird.
It's so weird.
And then like Leonardo DiCaprio got really kind of chunky, so now it's like,
yeah. No, I'm gonna Google that. Sorry, go ahead and continue role playing.
I'm like, in the middle of you trying to speak the truth, I'm like, they're gathering around. If there's authority here, they're gonna come now.
Yeah, I bless you. Gideon would never do this on his own, but oh my god.
Yeah. So you guys continue to fight. How long do you go for? Because these guys are going to continue to watch you the entire time.
No one tries to stop.
Can I have a turn?
No, hey, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. So I mean, do you guys just keep doing that, fighting? You're trying to do something, unless something else happens.
Until it becomes obvious that they're just going to stand around and just like gape at us.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. They're just standing there gaping.
So I'm going to see if I can get one of them to join in. Like, do you want to go?
Started going like you're the announcer, like hyping people up and pushing people into the fight.
Oh no! That looks awful.
It probably is.
I'm like, okay, this isn't working, and I help Gideon up.
I mean, the moment you sort of dust yourselves off is the moment that the crowd disperses and goes back to walking, and you know, I'm a generic NPC. Watch me do my thing. You know, that sort of thing.
Well, bloody good show, but I mean, you can try again. I'm all right with that. This place creeps me out. I'll be honest with you. I think we should
Same.
Potentially just. I mean, you tried causing a scene. Maybe I should try causing a scene now.
It's like, gesture, like do whatever.
Can I get a will check from literally everyone with a difficulty 9, please? Is it
Willpower?
Willpower, yes.
Okay.
I don't want to roll these dice.
2 successes. Fuck yeah.
Hey, all right.
Yeah, there you go.
So the moment you guys start talking about this sort of stuff is the moment like you all feel like a headache coming along, and it doesn't slowly build up over time. It's like someone needs to let the pressure out of my skull sort of headache, or else I'm going to fucking scream.
I think I was almost there without the aid of whatever effect this was. So I'm saying, I can't believe I'm saying this, but one almost wants to see the war brought to these people.
It starts to get more and more intense, actually, as well.
Was this sort of like building up while they were fighting, but they just thought it was the pain of punching each other in the head?
A little, yeah. But it's also starting to sound like a dentist drill in your mind a little bit, you know.
I imagine like things are like, this is like migraine style, so things are like light is starting to hurt. So
Yeah.
I'm like closing my eyes and like trying to not look at things.
Do you two feel this? There's something.
Brain parasites.
I saw one of these once. I've been building a rifle to shoot them.
The trick is to destroy the whole brain at once.
It's like, that actually sounds good about now. I say, I guess I reach out psychically again to try and figure out if we're being attacked from a distinctive source.
Yeah, your hands are still feeling tired. Like, you can actually feel like bindings on your wrist.
I am blind here, as if bound. Something's wrong. I guess I start just looking around to see if there is a discernible source. Have we activated some effect? Have we tripped some wire? You know, is there a person going like this at us? Like, what is exactly going on?
If you start to look around, like the piercing headache, among other things. Actually, let's just get a body check. 9 difficulty from everyone. See how well you can actually withstand this. Ooh, there's that. Okay. Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, Gideon, your friends start to, do the, hand to the head sort of thing. Like the migraine might slowly start to getting to them, but, like, this is starting to feel very similar to, say, a lobotomy almost at this point.
Gentlemen,
Okay. I love that somewhere in my backstory there was an almost lobotomy, and I've got precedent for this.
Yeah. I mean, you've read the manuals, you've read, like, especially someone of your, skill and profession, I guess, before you got into all of this adventuring. You know about, like, the treatments that people undergo, especially back then.
But there's nothing visible on them. It's just, this sort of like their own kind of, they're both doing this.
Yeah. And this is when you in particular, you get like a flash for like a second, kind of like how in Fight Club he like splices in like genitalia into the movie, like sort of thing, but not genitalia. You get a flash of
2 genitalia.
2 men in a darkened room with scrubs on, like facial masks and all that sort of stuff, like leaning over you. And then you're just back to the reality that you're in right now. Just a click like that sort of thing.
But no indication of time.
No.
Like it. Yeah. Okay.
Wait a minute. Is this whole thing happening in Gideon's head while he's being lobotomized because he's so fucking insane? Is that what this is?
Yeah. It's like that's why I would come into the Hollow Earth with companions like Charles. It's all dream logic. What Gideon would do is this. He would say, "We are being attacked." And he would grab the two of them and try pulling them back in the direction of the boat, because this seems like it's getting worse and we can see no source, and he's blind psychically, and all the rest of these people are like cattle, and I've got a psionic dick being spliced into my brain, so I'm pulling my friends.
It's not an actual dick. Let's be real.
Yes, of course, that was
it's the same effect basically.
Yes.
And you start going back to the boat, but no matter how hard you try, or you try and retrace your steps, you can't go back to where you were.
So like we go back exactly the way we thought we were, but it's still just another identical street with all of the same looking houses,
and the people are starting to get less and less like unique, I guess.
Oh shit. Gideon doesn't say or think this, but the player Jordan is like, "Oh shit, we're being mazed." Like, this is a thing. I do this to people. Fuck.
If the pain keeps on getting worse and worse,
are the two of these guys getting worse? I guess.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, basically, what this means is that the first person to fall prey to actually going unconscious, I guess, would be Jonathan. Given his result on the body check, followed by Francis.
Tired climb, so.
Followed by Gideon.
Like I was gonna say, if it keeps on getting worse and worse, I just like start screaming and just like flailing at people.
Yeah, I have
all the same.
Unsheathed the sword cane, and I am beginning to attack people. I now do not believe that this is Atlantis, or at the very least that that these people are real in the sense that I understand it. Like I have cracked.
Yeah. So the moment you start hitting people, they react like silicon dolls almost. But you also hear words of like, "This one's waking. Tie him down further." And then your psychic binds on your wrist get tighter. And then you start feeling one around your neck as well, pulling you backwards.
You're going to have to do a lot better than that.
I'm going to turn to Hyde and be like, "Original plan, start snapping necks."
Yeah.
Am I unconscious, or am I still up? Am I upright?
I'll give you one more action. What would you like to do?
Okay. I'm going to grab someone and try and snap their fucking neck.
I mean, you do it.
No, nothing happens.
Yeah, nothing happens.
And I'm AoE hypnotize if I stay awake long enough.
So basically, you snap this guy's neck, and it kind of like he just continues to walk with his head like lolling behind him at an angle that's like inhumane.
Come on, man! I didn't sign up for this.
It's the same. It's the same sound clip. Like it's the same sound clip. Goodbye, friend.
Goodbye, friend. Yeah. Yep.
Just lies. A world built on lies.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like I'll just snap the neck and then just watch him walk away, and I'm just gonna stare quietly.
Yeah. Anything that any of the other party members say gets drowned out by the white noise in your head, Hyde, as you basically, to everyone else, slump down and just go like you're just a corpse now.
Cool.
Francis, what are you doing?
If I see Hyde slump over, just like I have a terrible melee skill, but I just like run at the nearest person, just like pin them up against the wall and just start like feeding them.
Yeah, their head should be crushing, but it's not. And they're just like, you need to calm down, friend.
You know, saying calm down to an angry person doesn't make them calm down.
What's your boggle?
Yeah.
No, wait. What's your boggle, citizen?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, the white noise starts to fill your mind as, you know, maybe you let go of this person and he just continues walking after you've done what you've done to him.
If he like keeps walking, I'm like just like gasping for air because like my head is pounding, I can't hear anything, and I've just tried to beat a person up, and Francis doesn't do that. I'll just like look at Gideon and just like eyes roll back in my head and fall over.
Yep.
I'm saying we are being restrained. We are not here. The first one to wake up. Like,
yeah. And that's, I think we'll pick up this break. Many thanks to our Patreon supporters for this week's episode. Head on over to patreon.com/Henley to support the growth of Die Party. Died.
The end.
The end. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next week. I just wanted to run some ads. Bye-bye. No, not really. You guys, we'll go in order of, you know, the body successes. So, Gideon, you're the first to awaken from your slumber. You're in a room that is glowing like a faint blue light. Around you is, I mean, your eyes first make out, oh, this seems to be like an operating room of some descript, or like a medical bay or something like that. But I've never seen these instruments before. You know, very crystalline. In their purpose, there is a vein of red pulsating energy, a line of it like a vein under what you appear like. You're also strapped to a gurney that's like upright, and there's the vein of the red energy is going underneath your feet to the center of the room. Which spiders out to other gurneys that are upright. And, oh, look, there's Francis Jackson and Jonathan Hyde on separate gurneys, but they have yet to awaken. There is a man in this who's wearing a white lab coat in the center of the room going over a textbook of some of the script in the room, mumbling to himself.
I will watch him for a moment to see if he remains. And if he does, I'll change my plan. But if not, what I'm looking for is a window where he has to go relieve himself or go drink an evil beer or whatever it is that he's going to do. And then I'll start to wiggle at my restraints.
So he's sitting there still reading, and he's like, I can't understand why two of them seem to be from here, but the other one isn't. It makes no sense. His foreigners come and go all the time, but just continues to like flip sporadically through this book.
Okay, well, my character does not see the potential risk in doing this. So again, I'm going to try to reach out with my mind and see if I can get any impressions off of him that would give us an advantage.
Let me tell you more about your restraints.
Sure.
And particularly in comparison to the rest of your companions. You've got wrist, waist, ankle, neck, and you've got some sort of contraption on your head as well. Reaching out psychically or attempting to, it feels like it's bouncing off a wall that's right in front of your brain, if that makes any sense. So it's the feeling that you got when you, like, it's the exact feeling. You know, maybe you were psychically, you know, conjuring up what your body is restrained into, and that's sort of the restraints that were pushed upon you when you psychically tried to connect before. At least that's what it feels like. But yeah, you're not able to reach out at all at this point.
All right. Then I guess my next move would be to observe my two companions to see if they're coming to, because some level of coordination is the next kind of down card that we might possess. Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk to this idiot and draw attention to me if they're about to wake up.
You see Francis Jackson stirring awake from his slumber. It's also worth pointing out, at least on him, you can see some sort of catheter, or not catheter, like vein. Is that a catheter?
IV.
Something like that. But it's like it's drawing blood from him. But it's going into the vein underneath the, or at least it looks like it's going into the vein underneath the floor.
I just make eye contact with him and sort of flick my eyes over towards the figure in the room so that he doesn't start talking necessarily.
Like, same deal, like head and arms all.
No, you're less restrained.
Like, is my head restrained?
No. You don't have one on your neck. You have one around your waist, arms, and legs, but you're less restrained than Gideon is.
So, like, it'll probably be like one of those in characters, like a jolt awake kind of things.
Like you just fell in your dream.
Mm-hmm. Or like you're driving a car and like you crashed. So my head is like just like snap, eyes snap open. I don't say anything. I'm just like.
You feel a little dizzy, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. So like, what's the configuration of the room here?
You're on the opposite side to where Gideon is. There's a couple of gurneys that are empty. There's probably like maybe 6 in the room in total, and you and Jonathan are next to each other, and Gideon is across the other side of the room.
So it's like the man between.
Yeah, it's like basically like a half circle of gurneys, and he's like at a desk that's facing like a wall, basically.
Hmm.
And his back is to basically all the gurneys.
So I'll like look at him and look at Gideon. And I see Gideon like giving me the "don't mess it up" look. I'm like, okay, just like head back, try to relax for a second.
Jonathan Hyde, you are awakened from your slumber.
And my restraints?
Same as Francis.
So just like ankles, wrists.
And you got one around your stomach, which is more like a supportive one than anything.
Okay. Well, I mean.
And you've also got a IV drawing blood from you going to the floor.
Oh no, that's not good. Okay. I can break these cuffs.
I mean, you can't break these cuffs, but you can try.
I can break these cuffs.
Okay, give it a go. Let's go. I'll tell you what. If you spend some star points, I will say that you were not correctly restrained.
I only actually have one style point.
That's enough. I'll take that.
Okay, so that'll give me a shot at attempting to break out.
I would say with a little effort, you get the wiggle room needed to like lift an arm out of the restraint. Then you could free yourself. Like, you know, let's say it wasn't closed correctly. You can remove one arm.
Okay, so I can try and unlock the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, this is more like if you want to do it stealthily, that's a roll. But if you don't want to do it stealthily and you just want to open yourself up, you can definitely do that without rolling. But you'll,
well, I mean, I've got to this point quietly, so I may as well continue trying to quietly undo the restraint.
Do you have stealth?
I do, in fact.
Go ahead and make that roll for me. This will be a 7 difficulty, let's say.
Conveniently, I happen to have a 10 stealth. Why is it asking me for difficulty twice? What the hell?
A 1 was probably the modifier, right?
There we go.
Okay.
Oh shit! Only a 1.
Yeah, close. So I'm going to say that, you know, with that in mind, maybe you make a bit of noise going to your ankles. Like you get all of the stuff off aside from one of the ankles before the man turns around and gets startled and drops his book on the ground. He's like, oh, oh shit. And then he'll like try and get out of, like he'll basically like grab his book and make for the door.
Can I get the ankle off in time to tackle him?
Let's get a athletics check then from you.
Strength, right?
Yeah, we'll say that this will be, so you roll a strength, but we'll also put a -2 modifier on that simply because your ankle is restrained right now. So if you meant, this is just to make sure that you can grapple someone, right? So
difficulty
difficulty 7, but it would be with a -2 modifier. So yeah, so maybe you get to the door just as he closes it, sort of thing.
Like I'm assuming he's outside the door.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Okay.
And like he just shuts it in your face, basically. And you know, he's just, you know, you see him basically like the door is shut basically, and you know, there are things in this room that could potentially get it open, but right now it's like you pushing on the door or trying the handle or whatever doesn't open it.
Okay. Well, I couldn't stop him, so I may as well get out of these restraints and then start getting.
Oh no, you're out of the restraints. So basically, the restraints are basically on the bed. If that makes any sense.
Okay, cool. So I'll start getting Gideon's off.
Okay.
So, sorry, Francis. He's more dangerous than you.
Understood.
Yeah. So without too much hassle, you manage to, you know, leverage the restraints off of him.
No interruptions?
Not yet.
No, well, Francis next then, I guess.
I jump free, and if he doesn't need assistance prying loose Francis, I'll start looking for any kind of reflective surface. I'm assuming they took everything. Like we're not, you know, our stuff is not conveniently in the room.
What type of stuff are you looking for? Like a mirror and stuff like that?
Well, that would be what I would look for if we don't see any of our own equipment. If there are containers that like locker size containers that might
I would
have
say
our
that,
stuff.
like, you know, if you have things in your pocket or whatever, that's fine. You didn't bring any weapons with you when you boarded the thing. So anything that's just like, you know, mirrors or whatever that's in your pockets, they're just there. They haven't like looted you and stripped you down or nothing like that. So
I had the
Normally you
cane.
get gear back until after you get out of the prison segment.
or maybe this isn't a prison segment.
Yeah.
If you had your cane, yeah, that'll be like leaning up against like the desk, I guess.
Okay. Well, then I've got pocket mirrors. I've got my sunglasses, or are they missing?
That would still be on you.
Okay, great. Then if that's the case, then I'm going to lean out the door that the guy left, if I can, and try to see where he went.
You see him coming back with two other people, both wearing lab coats. So they're not like they're bringing soldiers back or anything like that. They're just bringing, I guess, other scientists from what you can describe back as well. But you also can't look out the door. You can look out of the window, but you can't like open you haven't like this. I guess the door is sort of like, it doesn't open essentially.
I just whisper back to the others. 3 coming back, but this may not be a fight. Still, be ready.
And I grabbed the guy dropped a book before he left, right?
He picked it up before he left. So
Shit.
but there are other books and like notes and papers and stuff like that on the desk here if you want to go over them.
I'm gonna like at least be over there, like looking them over until Gideon says like they're coming back.
So the guy spoke English and he mumbled in English, but this is definitely not a script you recognize.
Okay.
It is more like hieroglyphy than say what you would imagine English in this place to be written in. But yeah, it's definitely different.
I've seen these on an episode of Stargate.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I toss my sword cane to hide because of the two of us, he's more likely to make good use of it, I think. I don't know that you took brawl, not melee. And what I can do, they can't take away from me. So I arm you as best I can.
I'd probably just like look at it and then hand it to Francis.
Fair enough.
And he's like, no, just turn the thing, and the sword comes.
Is it point?
Yeah, like I don't know it's a sword cane. I just think it's a stick. So I'm like,
I say I got it from our friend Charles, which is actually kind of a lie, but you can tell that I'm like my eyes are looking right at it. So it's
so like I'll try to like twist the top or like pull it out or something.
Yeah, sword comes out. No problem.
Is it like the sword or is it the pokey thing?
It is a triangle, and each side is mirrored, and it comes to a very sharp point. And I say, don't poke yourself with that.
Always sound advice.
I'm incredibly coordinated. Stab in the leg.
You hear a knock at the metal door.
Come in.
It's like, hello. I assume you've freed yourself by now.
No, why don't you come in?
Do not be alarmed. It's merely for our safety rather than yours that we restrained you as such.
I'm like
yes,
back
that's
behind the.
Usually, the purpose of restraints. Like I say, can we talk like civilized people?
We were unable to determine your intent, and among other things, we were unable to determine whether or not you had a fire within you.
I say, well,
So
at least two of us.
So, for the time being, I believe we should continue to converse through this door. You can call me Giorgio. I have two companions with me, Nate and Philip.
Pleased
So,
to
1H then?
meet you. Like, I'm looking back from the door to these two. Like, kind of trying to indicate with my body language, are we knocking this door down, or are you all right talking?
Well, like I'm near the door. Like I'm assuming there's a wall near the door. I'm just like sitting there with the sword cane, like, because as soon as they come in, I'm gonna do my best Charles impression, basically.
Well, it costs us very little at this point, and Gideon is sick of their lies, and so he says, "We came here to warn you of a threat from outside, armed men, hundreds upon thousands of men that will invade. They seek some fountain, some source of youth. They believe you have it."
From what I understand, you brought with you that crazy native and her squadron and several weapons.
Yes, we had to fight our way here to warn you. I am of your people. I come from the family Gideon, who left long ago. I've been looking for you ever since.
Yes, that can't be right. No. The Gideons were outcasts, thieves. You are not of our people.
Yes, you are correct. My ancestors stole something from you. And by the way, do I have that pocket watch all this time?
I mean, you tell me. Do you keep it? Have you lost it? Did you pawn it?
I would be incredible if that flashback is to be believed. Then he would have kept it, Pulp Fiction style,
up his butt. Yeah, all right, sure.
Just in his most sacred place, etc.
I got through Vietnam with this. Yeah, okay. Sure.
And I say, if you're referring to the watch, I have brought it.
The what?
Peace offering, if you will.
We have no need for such delusional timepieces here.
No, it was put into my care by my grandfather. He indicated it was what was stolen. Perhaps it is something concealed inside. The point is, men are coming to butcher you. I would prevent this. You are my people, though I, frankly, am beginning to wish you weren't.
So you'll hear faint whispers, like, and he's like, "Stand back from the door. I wish to come in and converse."
Done. And I step back because the door being open is good either way.
So the door was sort of like a red line will appear around the outside of the door, and then it will just sort of like pop inwardly, and a man will sort of stick his head in. He kind of looks like Doc Brown a little bit. He was sitting. He's like, "Please, do me the honor of identifying yourself, all of you."
Imago Gideon, last of the alienists. And I flick him a business card, which, if he catches, ignites in his hand.
Sure. I forgot you had those fucking things. Yeah, he'll take it, and does it like ignite after he's read it, pulp style, or?
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's like,
yeah, it takes a second for the oils to sort of spread across the thing.
It's like, I like the idea that he's like, he takes out his glasses from his like lapel, puts it on his face, and it's already burned. He's like, some sort of otherworldly magic, I assume.
Yeah, after that moment of trying to be try hard cool, I go like, it just said the same thing I just said.
And What of your friends? Who are they?
Jonathan Hyde, professional killer. Pleasure to meet you. Get out of the way.
Mr. Hyde, you are what we call origination from this place. I find it hard to believe that you enjoy killing if you come from a peaceful land like this.
I didn't come from a particularly peaceful land.
And then he'll turn his attention to Francis. He's like, and what of your name?
He can just like look at me and see me with my sword up, or like just the sword up.
Is it shaking a little bit?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at Gideon like, does this go? Do I do this now?
Tell him who you are. If this comes to blows, it can do so after we've told them the truth.
Very carefully, not to poke myself, like sheath the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Francis Jackson.
You are also of this place. I'm
That
surprised
was the
that
most boring introduction ever. You didn't even put a bit of flair on it. Like Francis Jackson, scholar extraordinaire.
Francis Jackson of the Oxford Jackson 5.
It's a good name.
It is because of this man that we found you, I say.
I mean, are you not from here? Jackson and Hyde? I assume that's how you found us.
Nope. I point at Gideon like, we found you because of him.
I find it hard to believe that... Where are you from? If you're not here, why do you have our blood?
Where is this? Is it like Massachusetts? Is that where this is? Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah, that's it. Boston. Baston.
Francis says, not Canada.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at a loss for words. We've been so careful about letting out our line of survivors, and find it hard to believe that two have come from the ocean to join us now. And we have, I guess, something to return to the reliquary, huh? You mentioned the pocket watch. May I see it?
I produce it and I clean it first. I don't know if it's actually been there, but I like the idea that after all I've been through, I've actually bled like crazy, so probably worth a good polish.
Yeah. So he'll take it and he'll be like, I this isn't what was taken.
I say, then what was it?
Oh, well. It's hard to describe to someone who what's the word? Hasn't been with us for so long. Lots of things have changed since then. It was a small stone about yay long, and it offered our dead go into that stone, and we haven't been able to die since then.
Okay. I say...
You see what I mean? Like, you can't just throw that out in regular conversation, but this is not going to help us pass on. There are so many of us now. It's
This
I stop
is
him. I'm
not
like,
a regular conversation.
do you have my journal? Do you have the book? I need to write some stuff down.
it's over there on the table. I'm surprised
Thank
you didn't
you.
find it.
Grab it and like, immortal stone can't die. Underline, underline.
Not a pocket watch.
Yeah. You mean I carry that in my ass for this long and it does nothing?
Carried it in there so long inside his own pocket.
I say a stone was plunged into my heart when I was a child, but they were the men hunting my grandfather.
It is common practice to retrieve the soul from a human body after it has perspired.
Are you saying you took my soul?
What? No, if you are walking around, you have not had your soul taken.
Then what was the... I point. Then why did he do that? I was 7.
Well, perhaps, maybe, there is a good chance that you could hide it. Possibly.
He said my future was not my own. Do you know what he meant?
Well, I don't know who did this to you, so I can't say of his intent. That's you're asking too far into the future, good man.
Is there anyone here who is not a living form of inertia?
I don't...
Bring us to your leaders.
If what you say is true, and you do have the soul crystal within you, then perhaps it might be worth you talking to someone other than myself. I mean, I am only one of many. But your friends, Francis and Jonathan, the professional killers, you are welcomed home.
Thanks.
I think I'll just like look at Francis like, wait, hang on, what?
I was like shrug and hand you the sword.
I hand it back to Gideon.
It would seem that you are the Atlanteans, my friends.
Yes,
Wait.
well, the Atlantean blood pumps strong within their bodies, and if you had simply understood how our mechanisms work, we wouldn't have had to go through the security barriers like you did.
Hold that thought.
Sure.
You said you can't die?
Yes, none of us have been able to die for a very long time. As you can tell, it's hard to keep track of the years in which when we first came here.
Have you tried?
Oh,
I'm
yes.
very good.
Yes, I was an old man when I came here, and God, we kept keeping track about 300 odd years now.
I turned to Gideon. I'm like, Woodbury said that whenever they killed the Nazi Imperial, like the leaders, the higher ups, they come back. They can't die.
Why would they search for a fountain that they've already found then? This seems circular.
Maybe it's not for them. Maybe it's for, Big Cheese.
You think it is an individual thing that some of their leaders have been exposed to, and they seek to extract it or seek the
Maybe,
means of production?
maybe they have Atlantean blood, like apparently we do.
I think everybody has Atlantean blood, except Gideon. Poor Gideon.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's also worth pointing out that on the surface, you guys did get injured. I mean, you might have like bounced back a lot quicker than everyone else, but you certainly like haven't had any brushes with death to prove otherwise. And you did age. It's not like
yeah, anything that would have killed us, we obviously survived. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
exactly right. So there's no like you got fucking ran over by a truck and stood up again. There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
You are all skilled individuals at avoiding death to the point where you've never had a situation where you could potentially be in trouble of it.
I think Francis is just like connecting dots that may not line up completely, but
It's also worth pointing out, guys, that this was supposed to be a slow unravel of this sort of information. However, with with Jordan leaving, I've had to sort of like make that sort of stuff happen a little quicker. So
I'm honestly just grateful that Charles isn't here, because this would be really fucking difficult.
yeah.
Exactly. Like the sort of flow chart, the infinite flow chart of this guy's conversation tree and Charles's together would be like a singularity.
Yeah.
Say,
Do you have Immortala-tea?
oh God. Oh,
oh god, can I use that as the title of this episode? Like
Yeah.
that was
dash TEA. I like it. I say, if you can't die, do you value anything? Why do you persist? Because the men who are on our heels like the hounds of hell, they will take it all.
oh it's you ask us why we persist. It's because we can't die, sir. Persistence is more of a curse than anything else. We found great understanding and a far greater technology than we could ever possibly hope to find on the surface, and yet here we are, unable to die or bring it back.
Francis, they're like a living library. They are static. They have a source of information about the past, but whatever I thought to find here is gone.
Well, like they said, they're not the people to talk to. I think we should move on.
I just sort of nod, like hoping that he will take us to somebody who is at least
What's the scientist's name?
Gregory.
It was Gregory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd ask him, like, if you can remember, which of you is the oldest?
Well, you see, the moment we came here, we never aged anymore.
Who came here first? Do you know that?
Oh, the entire city, my lad.
Are you related to the Abernethys?
No, why would I be?
You remind me of them.
well, for what
Stunning
it's
result.
worth, Charles did glow just like the rest of you. It's possible that his blood is in this man's veins.
That was worth asking.
Now, our next steps will need to be is we need to identify your family heritage. If you were on the surface and you have the infected Atlantean blood, then that's the first sign of hope we've had of potentially going back to where we were.
Let's just take a step back here, Greg. I'm sorry, did you say infected?
Oh, yes, I mean, what else would you call a curse of a man? And imagine you were in a library that had an inexhaustible amount of knowledge, but in exchange, you couldn't tell anyone about it or bring it back to where you were. That's essentially what we're in.
I think I'd look at Francis to see his reaction to that.
I'm nursing a heavy half chub.
This heavy half chub brought to you by Immortala-tea.
Drink it once and you're fucked.
Yeah, but I'm like, as much as like I am into this, like, we're here for Gideon. We need to get him answers, help. If this is a floating library, there's got to be an answer in here somewhere.
Let me. I will bring you to our appointed official.
Perfect. A hierarchy.
Yeah,
You're not
so-
happy. Great. I
And-
love this place already.
And perhaps, maybe, we can find that sweet relief that we've been searching for all this time. We all know.
As we move, I just wanted to say that I will take out the pocket watch and examine it if it's behaving any differently now that I'm back here. My grandfather had to have given it to me for some reason. And so even though this guy has discounted it, it seems valuable to me.
Yeah. So let's maybe. Do you have any sort of investigation check?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's
Yep.
get one of those. Let's say the difficulty here will be an 8.
All right.
As you're walking along, he will basically rub a finger along a wall, and he'll leave like a line of basically he has actually what he'll do is he'll take out like a little device off the top of his finger, and a little droplet of blood will pull off of his finger, and he'll rub it against the wall as he walks along, and you expect maybe he'll leave like a line of blood or something along the lines there, but actually what will happen is it'll seep into the walls, and the lights in the hallway will start to turn on, going towards the direction that you're heading in.
And style points are 1-to-1 with dice on checks, right? It's only wounds that take 2.
Yes, it's 1-to-1.
All right. I'm going to spend 1 point because why not? Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah.
You said difficulty 8, 7?
What did I say was 8? No. Yeah, we'll go with 8. Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, nice.
There goes my style point.
Yeah. So, it's a functioning watch that has stopped functioning since coming to Hollow Earth. Time is irrelevant here, and any source of mechanical assistance has ceased. There is no it is a battery operated watch for the most part. Like, it's a quartz. I don't know if they had the quartz back then. I'm pretty sure they did. But you've taken it apart multiple times, and you haven't seen anything that's come off of it. But like, how deep have you investigated the watch before? Have you taken it apart piece by piece and then like actually re-put it back together? Have you done anything like that before?
I sort of like the idea that he was of a different and more careful mind prior to now. And
When did they?
so he would be afraid that upon reaching this place that it was supposed to do something, behave like a compass or whatever, so he wouldn't take it apart out of fear of ruining it. Now he is seconds from smashing it.
Yeah, no, it's mechanical. Quartz was invented in 1969, not 1936. So, yeah, it's a mechanical watch. So, you've if you've never taken it apart, because it's a watch, it's a mechanical watch. There's a series of small to tiny cogs in there. You're definitely not a mouse, so you can't take that apart and do all that. That's a nod to Surge, by the way. Yeah.
I thought you were going with mouse guard there. I was like, wait, what?
No, it's a not to your character. But yeah, you've probably never dug too deeply into it, I would assume. But now that you have some sort of like, you know, understanding of the situation a little bit more, what do you do with it? Do you smash it?
Yes. I think probably what happens is he's sitting there looking at it, angry at its insignificance after all this time. He thought, right, for sure they would go, that's it, or it's inside or whatever. And they just blew it off. Oh, that old thing? Fuck you. So he waits as his two friends are kind of walking with the guy towards presumably better answers, and he just hurls it against the wall like a fastball.
So yeah, hurling it against the wall, smashes it, and well, a blood-like substance comes out of the watch, like there was a small vial of blood inside of it.
I say, oh shit. And I look down and I say, there was blood. Look, in the watch.
Who are you saying this to?
Just the backs of them as they're like striding down this hallway.
He like turned back. He's like, "What? Oh, I mean,
Oh yes, we do that all the time. We keep blood in everything here.
it makes sense. Blood is a key, essentially, to Atlantis's infrastructure.
Ah, so it would have brought us in the city safely, etc.
I assume that was the intent of something like that.
I see.
Oh,
Well,
for one, not tainted with the curse, I assume that would have helped. But alas, its significance, I guess, is lost now that you are within its walls.
indeed, I say. And just walk away from the shards of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, Gideon. I can get you some more blood later.
Sounding better and better.
Yeah, so you guys will walk for a bit of time. Like, as you leave the hallway of this, there are rooms going off this place, and basically they look like windows, but you can see like a slight outline around where the doors were. Gregory will, push his hand against one of these sort of portcullis looking things, and a door will basically appear, and he'll push on it, and the door will sort of push outward, almost like a false wall to a degree, like kind of like how you might see a door built into like a wall with the same colored wallpaper sort of thing. It kind of almost looks like it was like there intentionally all along, but maybe it's only activated by the blood within the Atlanteans. So he will open it out, and outside it's what you would expect Atlantis to actually be. Great structures, mirroring up into the sky, towering almost. And as the imagery of what the city was before you came here, as you saw it in the distance, it sort of pierces like clouds up high from its I guess metallic towers that it has in this place. There are people walking about. They are, for the most part, dressed in sort of like white robes, almost like Roman, I guess would be the way that I would describe them. And there is like a bountiful harvest of fruits, trees, and other things assorted around here as well. The land that you're walking upon is, for the most part, soil. There is no paved pathways or anything like that. And, the shoes that the scientist, Gregory, was wearing, most of the people here walk around barefoot.
And the two doctors, were they accompanying us still?
Oh, no, it's just Gregory. They went off in other directions. Gregory will start to walk. He's like, it didn't take us long to work out that, our curse was also a blessing. We've been able to grow anything that we brought with us originally. Corn, melons, just about every form of seed that we had once the city went under has been able to grow quite large and very rapidly here. We were able to form crystalline structures out of the sand itself. It almost seemed to replicate itself. Anything that we wanted from this earth, we were able to obtain. But, we weren't able to find our release, if it were.
Are you telling me you have no idea how any of this works?
There have been studies into our blood, but none of us have any sort of understanding of what makes our blood different.
Is there a place that you have been trying to access that requires their blood? And I indicate these two.
Oh, nothing of the sort. The closest we have gotten is to try and attempt to get closer to the ball of energy that sits in the center of where we are. We get close, the flesh on our bodies fall off, and we fall and we come back. It's Icarus, but with a less gruesome ending to the people who attempt. We haven't done so in a while. Seems kind of fruitless for now. That's why we have this great tower here.
You spoke of an experiment to which their blood might be the key reagent, though.
There are plenty of experiments. The smartest of us, or the most curious of us, work within the laboratories which you came from. For the most part, we've been seeing what our blood can do to this land. It seems that we've managed to find a variety of different artifacts that, seem mundane to ordinary natives here, but to us hold great power. For example, we have been able to create barriers around this city. Any who enter get lost, as you've seen. So, your threat of invaders, well, if anything, we are more interested in how they got here than what they can do to us. I doubt their weaponry will have much effect on...
They won't invade your city. As soon as they realize that they can't take it, they'll gas it.
I don't think we've tried to gas ourselves. That's an interesting thought. Perhaps we can lull ourselves into a eternal sleep. I will... He takes out a notepad and he starts to write that down. It's like, interesting. Many of us have attempted to die in a variety of different ways, and that's a new one.
Yes, well, I'm sure you'll be regretting writing that down when you're choking on mustard gas. It doesn't kill you quickly.
Oh, I have been one of the ones that have attempted to climb into the energy ball above us. Pain, it starts to go away after a while. Many of us have attempted to perspire in a variety of different ways. Generally, existing is, well, it's not as difficult as those make it out to be. You get used to it after a while. It's just after you've lived so long,
And
you
regenerate them, right? You get better. You come back. You said once you get away, you come back, right?
whatever source of damage you take, the moment you stop taking it is the moment the body heals.
So when you're drowning on your own lungs, and they just keep gassing you, you think that your maze is going to protect you from that?
Well, we actually have attempted to drown many of our own people. Those who attempt it generally start living without oxygen.
And you say that my family stole death from you.
Well, the name Gideon has a certain cursed name to it. I'd be careful about who you say you are to the ordinary people here. Though I will keep your secret for now, especially if you have, what you say you do inside of you. Perhaps there's a way that we can finally rid ourselves of what has come of us.
Gladly. At this point, I feel uniquely motivated to help you reach your terminus.
I believe we have the same intentions, then.
They'll tell stories of the brave visitor that came to genocide them all.
Yeah, exactly.
He will be our king for the time that we are still alive.
All right. Well, I guess I look over at Francis and I say, if only the fellows at Yale could see this, eh? And beyond that, I just shut up until we get to somebody who talks in fewer circles than this guy.
Yeah. As soon as you say the guys at Yale, I'm like, fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. Okay.
I start twitching shit. Fucking Yale. God damn it.
We'll kill them. I'll kill them with my immortal fucking hands. I think I'm an immortal teenager now, pretty much.
So if you guys continue along the path, he'll eventually take you to a very mundane looking town hall. Brick, mortar sort of place. A little weathered from like water damage, but you guys will be left in a waiting room for a little bit of time. Gregor will go off, and he'll bring back a man who's, for the most part, wearing a nice suit, and he has stereotypical ribbon of the mayor wrapped around a sash, I guess would be the better word for it, around his shoulders, and he'll walk into the room and he'll be beaming from ear to ear, like shit-eating grin style, and he'll be like, it's going to be hard for me to break this because I've been talking in Gregory's voice for a while now, but he'll be like, hello, I'm Samson, pleasure to meet you. I hear you're here to kill us.
Pleased to meet you. Indeed, it seems we bring the gift of death.
He'll do the double handshake, You shake a hand, he'll grasp it and shake it to each one of you, and he's like, well, fantastic. I've been waiting to die for a very long time now.
I think they modeled the freaks at the entrance after this guy.
Mr. Hyde, is this like heaven to you?
No. This place is a nightmare. I want to kill them, but I know that it's a waste of time.
Yes, very much so. We stopped trying to kill ourselves a good long while ago. Please, come, sit, enjoy our melons. We're very proud of them. What was that?
Is Gregory still with us?
He'll find a way to excuse himself.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
You know what? No, actually, let's keep him in the room. That way he can
Okay.
answer any sort of like technical questions that come up about your blood, for example.
I haven't seen such
I was gonna
exquisite
try to
melon
kill
since
him.
Jessup. Never mind.
What was that? Sorry, Doc.
I was going to try and kill him and see if they're lying.
How would you do that?
I mean, it'd be a simple snap of the neck and see if he gets back up.
Sure, yeah. You do like, yeah. He'll be like, "We've been trying to
I'll
die for
probably
a
just
long
walk up
time."
and, like,
Yeah.
hang on a second there.
Yeah. His he'll slump to the ground dead.
I'll just kind of look at the mayor and just shrug, like, well,
The Mayor Simpson would just go about pouring you all, melon wine that they have, if you'll take it, and then you hear like the sickening sound of like vertebrae realigning. It's like a much slower version of the crack that happens when you break a neck.
just played in reverse.
Yeah,
I've had like the glass of melon wine, just like crunch. Yeah,
you just
Like
spit it
back
back into the cup.
it's like dry heaving a little bit.
Yeah. Gregory will stand up and be like, "Oh, are you quite done? I'd prefer to not get my neck snapped. It is still painful, sir."
Sorry, Sorry. I think I need to get off this island. I don't like it here at all. Gideon, I want to leave. I can't kill anyone.
I need an adult. Get me off.
But just imagine if we solve that problem. You're like a kid in a candy store.
So
They're going to need someone to do the deed en masse.
So Samson will, Gregory, after all the wines have been, poured, and he'll go up to the mayor and say, "Mayor Samson, these are the half breeds, and the man who is related to those who took our death from us." And Samson will raise a glass to you and be like, "Well, I hope that all of you will be able to eventually help us. I would love to hear your stories. I've got all the time in the world."
Do these guys have the tattoos on their eyes, or is that just my family?
Just your family.
I think the hide might be a little bit shook. Probably just drinking that melon wine.
Yeah.
And just
It's actually really
staring.
good. Like the melon wine's actually exceptional. Like,
Is it alcoholic?
oh yeah, it's fermented melon wine. Yeah.
I'm double fisting because I just want to impair the stuff. Maybe this will seem bearable after a couple more glasses of this.
Yeah. So Samson will turn to you, Gideon, and he'll say, "So, do you have the soul crystal?"
Some crystal object was plunged into my chest when I was a child. And since I have had visions of things that may come, things that lurk beyond mortal perception. I don't know if it's the thing you seek, but if it will bring an end to our mutual story, I am prepared.
Well, have you investigated your chest cavity at all during your, I hate to call it a life, but I guess it would be. Have you, dug around in your own chest before?
I have had examinations, but they were unable to find anything.
Ah. Well, that is frustrating. Samson, looks over at Gregory and he says, "His blood. What were you able to gain from it?" It's like, well, it turns out that his blood is, well, it's different. It doesn't have any traces of the taint in it. And these half-breeds, they're like not as infected as us. Samson will sort of scratch his chin and be like, Tell me about your family. I wish to know about your mothers and fathers and your grandfathers and those before them.
Is he just addressing the room?
Yeah. You like slip noisily on melon wine.
Well, my mother was a whore. I don't know who my father was. Could have been anyone. Might be you. That would explain the Atlantean blood. You fucked any British whores?
Several. In fact, we have a lot of them here.
You asked.
But that doesn't explain how the tainted blood was able to be found on the outside, and perhaps being so close to this... I have no idea, actually. None whatsoever. What of you, Francis Jackson?
Well, my father was a concert pianist, and he met my mother, a nurse in Paris. Summer of love kind of thing.
What is this Paris that you speak of?
On the surface, it's like below Britain.
Shithole.
So we have families tied to whores and a family tied to a shithole. Is that what we're looking at here?
There's a reason they named me Francis. It's Francis.
Francois.
He'll slip noisily on the cup and be like, I see, that makes perfect sense. You just sort of look at the doctor and be like, yeah.
You did what?
A man named Wesley assembled us with the assistance of someone named Masa. Do you know either of them? Have you made contact with them? They chose us. If this is a coincidence, it is one for the ages.
Well, there was a couple of years back, a number of our relics went missing. Since then, we've erected this barrier in order to stop thieves coming in, and we don't want the tainted stuff that we have. Imagine this is a quarantine zone, right? If some of it gets out, then we don't want any more of it to end up outside where it can do damage.
Quick question. Where did this come from? Atlantis was on the surface at one point, right?
That's one of the great mysteries. We simply fell through the ocean one day.
And became immortal.
Well, before that, we have no real understanding of how our blood got so affected, but perhaps it was on the journey. We don't have anything to say about that, really.
Fascinating.
On the world where we come from, there are rival factions that are obsessed with finding this place and plundering it for what they believe to be magic.
They want to live forever, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Certain
We
people
have
do.
spoken to, yes, a few in particular who can mobilize an army. You say that you are immortal and perhaps their assault will be fruitless. But these are men of great imagination, and there are fates worse than death.
Well, if there's one thing to say about this curse that we all have is that adaptability seems to be the thing that drives it the most. We throw ourselves
Very creative.
under the ocean with our legs tied to stone, and eventually that no longer becomes a problem for us. We throw ourselves into molten metal, and we walk free of it after a while. This is an interesting problem to have. We originally had this stone, the one that the Gideon family took from us. And this stone, it could rip the soul of those who no longer wish to exist from their bodies, and their bodies would rot, which was a first. That's the closest thing we've come to seeing death in our people since our great plunge into this place.
If the function of the stone was to bring death to the deathless, what value could it possibly have on the surface? Why would my family take it?
Riches? Perhaps it is some sort of device to power other things. These I can't answer.
Could it? If that's the only thing that can kill immortals, maybe they are using it as a weapon to kill someone that was immortal.
Possibly. Tell me more about this invading force you mentioned. That we should be scared of such things. We have not feared anything in a while.
Have you seen 1,000,000 men marching towards you?
I can't say that I have.
That would probably be, I'd say at least 1,000,000.
Yep.
Armed with weapons and technology you couldn't imagine. And the cruelest minds in the world.
Well, there's nothing more cruel than giving birth to a baby that can't age.
Yes, I believe that would be experimenting on this baby that can't die for all eternity.
Indeed. These men believe that their great race is descended essentially from you. But I can tell you that they don't light up in my vision like these two do. When they realize that you share nothing with them, they will declare you inferior and find a way to torture you ad infinitum.
If they know you can feel pain but can't die, that will give them endless pleasure, I'm sure.
And how are they getting here? How did you get here?
The earth opened up. We ended up here.
There was a hole in a church. The whole thing was a little messy.
The closest thing to magic that we have seen. Portal of some kind. And they seem to be able to create one from thin air.
Well, that and the means to return to the surface is lost to us. It might be an interesting thing to experiment with. Perhaps It is this place that makes us immortal. We have no idea, but have you experienced death in this place? Have any of you perished?
I mean, there was that big fucking bird.
Some that came with us have died, but none that share the blood.
So the mayor will go to you, Gideon, and you might be related to those who stole eternity from us, but I bear you no ill will. However, you might be of use to us. Perhaps, is there some way that we could ask you to allow us to prod you further? If what you say is true, the soul crystal might be a part of your body now. You might be the man who can take our souls away from us.
If my function is to make amends for my family, then yes. I came here in the hopes that you would show me a secret truth that would allow me to save this world and that above. A great darkness is spreading there, falsehood, and worse, people lying to themselves in order to perpetuate some grievous system. These invaders that we speak of are some such. If I must first help you, I must assuage my own conscience. I cannot be corrupt. If you're saying that my family is, then yes, I will atone.
So he will think for a little bit. And he'll go to the door behind him and open it up. And there'll be a man, like an attendant, I guess. And he'll say to the man, he's like, "Bring Hope in." And then the attendant will nod. And he'll turn back to the group and it's like, "Perhaps there is one thing that we could try. If you will allow us, that is, Mr. Gideon." After a couple of minutes, the attendant will return with two people, a mother and a father, or a man and a woman, and in their arms is this, I guess, tiny newborn baby.
Smoking a cigar.
No, nothing like that. And we're talking like, barely able to move sort of newborn baby, right? So Mayor Samson will say, "This is our youngest, Hope. She was born here about a month after we came into this place. She has not grown since then. If you are what you think I want you to be, Gideon." And the mother and father will sort of look at each other with wide eyes, the moment that your name gets mentioned. Then perhaps, maybe you can help Hope. Her daily life is probably filled with the most pain from anyone here. I and her mothers and father, we would like you to kill her. To set her free.
Some transfusion, or
perhaps.
Why do you think
If
I
we
would
are to
suggest
experiment, it is to
work.
be with her and with you. If any success is to come from this, she should be the first one to receive it.
I cross over to her. Is she pretty still, or is she squalling? Like, what's her status?
Her eyes haven't opened yet at all. So her eyes are still shut, and she's very, I guess, pink, very fragile. And she is, I've never held, like the smallest baby I've held is like 3 months, right? So, and even then he was fucking tiny and very, very weak. So I imagine it's significantly weaker than that. It's probably very, very small. And
I'll try to take her from them gently, if they'll let me.
yeah, they do.
Um,
She's wrapped in like a cloth, like a silk cloth or something like that.
I say to her, a great man died. His last words were, "Now comes mystery." And there's much I do not understand, but this was done for me. I take out 2 pennies and I place them on her eyes and eyebrows, and I say, "For the ferryman." And I say, "I'm ready."
Oh, Gregory will sort of like look around and say, "Oh, perhaps we should try something with your blood. Maybe we cut the child and we cut you and see what happens once we mix them together. However, I don't want to taint your supply with those of the infected. So
I look at Francis and I say, "If you please," and I hold my hand out for the cane.
We gave it back to you a while ago.
Oh, I thought you still had it. I don't remember.
I gave it to Hyde and then I handed it back to you, I thought.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, in any case, I say, "Gentlemen."
I mean, if
And-
you hand me the cane to like slice your arm, then I'll do it. But
No, I just need to prick my finger, I guess.
yeah, I mean, they people have daggers here. You could use anything really. Like it's not.
Well, there's a numbing agent on the sword, and
Okay.
that's so I want to use that on
Ah.
on basically the smallest part of the meaty part of her hand, the
Mhm.
baby's hand,
Mhm.
and
Like the palm, I guess,
yeah, exactly.
or like the part under the thumb or something like that.
Yeah, that's anesthetic, and I do the same for, I guess, some place that's not going to bleed me out too fast, and make contact between the two.
Yeah, I mean, if you're expecting an explosion of some script, if you're expecting, her to instantly like scream out in pain and die, nothing happens like that. She continues to be a baby, though she cries at the idea that being pierced by something, but it's it subsides after a while. But yeah, she's still there, existing.
I just look at the guy who said we should try something with your blood, quizzically.
I mean, we can't expect anything that quickly. Maybe. I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish I had the answers for you.
You're right. I shouldn't have expected anything quickly from you, I say, looking at that same.
Yeah. And
The baby's quite small. You could quite easily do it. Transfusion.
I'm open to it,
yes,
but I lack the equipment.
perhaps we should run some tests and maybe see if we can get a stock of your blood that we can do something with. It was kind of a false hope that we could simply rub your blood on things and have it perish. Yeah.
That'd be crazy, like rubbing blood on a wall and having the lights turn on.
A lot of false hope going around, I say. Let's get to it then.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's going to happen? We get like a montage, you know. Eventually, your companions, retrieved, right? The gondola, lake, river, whatever it is sort of there, and you know they're still on the boat or whatever. But you know we get like a montage of you having like a couple of safe measurements of blood. I don't know how much it is. I think it's like 3 quarts or something. I don't know what it is. I correct me if I'm wrong, because 3 quarts sounds like a
pulp,
lot.
So almost assuredly the amount of blood that they take is unsafe, but that's the footage we got.
Yeah. They run some tests, and they establish the fact that you are in fact untainted. However, there is a residual energy within your blood, for whatever reason that might be. However, what happens at the end of all of this is, once they decide that they're going to put more blood inside of Hope, after about a couple of days of that happening, but nothing happens. However, then her eyes open after like 3 days after the transfusion has happened. Everyone is led to believe that the blood of Gideon has, for the most part, removed the infectious blood, or killed the infectious blood within side of the native Atlanteans, I guess, for the most part.
When that happens, he would become demonstrably like a changed man. There would be like he was seeking some great truth that would save the world above, but the idea that the journey here meant something, like the attitude would flip. Like he would start saying goodbye to these guys, because presumably I'm gonna have to keep producing blood.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to see like a Blade blood bag style, like he's just like strung up with hoses coming off him, and they all just come and drink the blood every day.
It's nothing like what you would imagine, and they're not mistreating Gideon, or they're not attempting to take Gideon from you guys or anything like that. But it's up to whether or not Gideon wants to stay here and attempt this, and try and free this curse or what have you. This is, at this point, Jordan, how would you like to sunset your character? You've been given this ultimatum, I guess.
Well, basically I turn to these two and say, and I guess if the others are in earshot, sort of circle up and say, I feel that I owe this to the Atlanteans. I may have been wrong about why this place was vital, but this is a clear act of redemption for my family's sins. I had no idea what we had done. I thought that we were better than other people. I hope to see you again when I am done. I believe that they are wrong in this. The Thule Society are just the beginning. If you need me, look for me here.
All right. And I guess what we'll do here, because I'm not sure what the other two, especially Graham. I believe Graham's character Solomon will have something that he'll want to do here, being of the medical persuasion. Maybe not so much Charles, but at least I know Graham's character would want to have something here. So maybe we draw the curtains closed on this particular one, and Gideon becomes an NPC at this point. That for you might come back and attempt again at some other point. Who knows? Maybe we get a lance made out of Gideon blood thrown at a Nazi leader at some point. There's plenty of things that could happen from this point onward.
Yeah, I'm up for that. I would love to. I'd love to return if things are super dire at some point on an intermittent basis. That sounds like a lot of fun. I love playing with you guys. This has been an absolute joy.
There's a lot of things that is kind of interesting about this. What's happened now? Essentially, any of these artifacts that were brought to the surface are obviously of the Atlantean persuasion, and these rings, these artifacts, what have you, they're all tainted in some way, right? So a lot of questions got answered, but probably a lot more are left open now. The original plan was to have this particular moment happen slowly, unravel, right? Maybe you would find some Atlantean places that were left, like ruins left on the mainland and that sort of stuff. Who knows? But we never really got to that, unfortunately. But I feel like we got to a point where we could sort of safely sunset your character.
I agree. I love it when you don't get exactly what you want, but you find some kind of new purpose. This is a good place for him to remain for such time as, right?
All right. So let's do some shout outs then and wrap this up. Drummer Boy, let's start with you, my man.
Damn. Well, I've been Drummer Boy. I write music, and now I'm going to be streaming more because I finished that frickin' album. So, probably tomorrow morning I'm going to be doing the Patreon tune on stream. It's like a cyberpunky shoegaze kind of thing. I'm still on that. And Jordan, it's been a pleasure playing with you, dude. Hopefully,
likewise.
Yeah. All right, Jordan. Let's get a final shout out from you. When can we expect the trailer?
Yeah, so I'm Jordan, as they mentioned. You can find me at Nullspeak on Twitter, and you should see the announcement of our new game by the end of February, kind of at the latest, is what we're hoping for. And so pretty damn soon I'll be able to talk publicly about it. What is known is that it's a co-op horror thing. We have spoken about that before. And I hope you all get a chance to play it. Certainly I'll come back and bring you guys in for some kind of play test or another, because it seems like it might be up your alley.
Cool.
And yeah, I mean, this has been great fun. Thank you so much for having me on.
Happy to do it. Yeah, you you kind of whipped the game into shape a little bit with the way that your character got built. I had no idea that your performance, psychic stuff was actually in this book. So good job finding it. And
yeah, career game designer. I was like, all right, well, what do they have? They've got a lot of guys who excel at gun porn, and they've got the guy who can talk to anybody. They don't have a terrible mage.
I feel like you just found the poop hole loophole,
Wait a minute, they have a whole person in this game? Fucking done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know that they had some of the expansions for Hollow Earth are pretty interesting. They have a mad scientist expansion and all that sort of stuff, which is if you want to build ray guns and shit like that.
They have a Mars expansion.
Yeah,
did you know that?
Yeah, I know.
Dude.
I know. I don't know how you can get to Hollow Earth on Mars, but
Hollow Mars.
Hollow Mars. Yeah, jeez. Fuck, that's so stupid. But
I think you'd probably have to stop by the Nazi moon base on the way. It's got to be there. It's got to be a Nazi moon base
On the dark side of the moon, shooting
Yeah.
laser beams out of it. Yeah, of course.
Well, I grew up loving the Shadow, and so I thought of this mirror version of that called the Image, and it kind of needed the hypnotist thing. And occultism is pretty Hollow Earth, but the Shadow can cloud men's minds.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, yeah, fine. It reads more like powerful bard, but whatever.
No, I love the Shadow. Whenever I think of Pulp, I always think of that scene when he's holding the ancient ritual dagger inside of an Indian or some sort of Tibetan temple, and the dagger turns around and bites him in the palm of the hand. I was like, fuck, man. I need to run that game. Yeah. I guess last but not least at least this week, we have Doc Gast. What up, sir? How you doing?
Yo, how's it going? It's good to actually get to
Answers?
finish this. I was worried, like, when people weren't showing up today. I was like, oh no, are we gonna have to just off screen? And then Gideon left the party. But no, it was good.
There's just this stock footage of the giant bird that you didn't kill. Just
And then you're just gone, and it's like, wow, shit, none of us saw that coming.
I guess he's dead. Yeah. But I mean, this isn't really the end of the story. There's still exploring gonna happen and all that sort of stuff. It's just sort of like, what happens when they have all the answers? What happens when they have the?
We've only killed a few dozen Nazis. We've got plenty of work ahead of us.
Yeah, what happens now that they have like the secret key to Hollow Earth, basically, pumping through their veins? Like, literally, let's find some artifacts, let's turn them on, let's see what happens, let's throw them at Nazis. Like there's plenty of stuff that can be done here, and you guys
can't wait to watch the rest.
Yeah,
like when you meet the cult of academics in a movie, and they're like, oh, there's nothing to worry about. Guess what?
It's like a giant Mayan temple turns into a mech and just.
Oh man, I might do that now that you've said that.
Right, so when we come across the Mayan temple, we just leave, right? Like,
Yeah.
we just
You go into like the what
see
are
a
the
Mayan temple in the distance. Let's turn left. Let's just go that way.
pop out the ruby gemstones that are massive, and then you can look through the holes of its eyes when you walk it around. Like, it's good. Don't worry about it.
No, the ruby gems are like giving us different facets of what's all around us.
Yeah.
Turn it actually into like, oh, we have 4 members now, so we got like two arms, a torso, and a head or whatever. Power Rangers. There we go.
Power Rangers. Yeah. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week, hopefully. We'll be down a man, but 4 people is still enough to kill some Nazis with. We originally started with 4, so we're just going back to where it all began, with the Atlantean crew, the half-breeds, running around Hollow Earth, seeing what's up. But yeah, you can find more of this over on the YouTube. Check the schedule, because the schedule times have changed now. So, but yeah, we'll be back next week on Tuesday again. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a good one. Maybe next time we see Jordan, he might have a beard. We'll see. I don't know. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.